Northern Alliance Radio Network. Back with another segment on the broadcast. It is me, Brad Carlson. Thanks as always for tuning in. Again, check out my blog at bradcarlson.org, and we are here to take your phone calls. 651-289-4488. That is the number to call. You can text comments or questions 651-243-0390 or weigh in via Twitter. Hashtag NARN, hashtag NARN for any comments or questions regarding today's show content. And as always, we appreciate you tuning into the broadcast. Taking a little pivot here into local politics. Yes, 2016 also is an election year here in the state of Minnesota for the local legislative seats. Both the Minnesota House and Minnesota Senate are up for election, and Republicans, by my count, need to gain 6 seats in the Minnesota Senate to gain a majority in that body for only the second time in, I think, like 40-plus years. And one of the gentlemen tasked with perhaps reaching that goal is Brad Sanford. He is the Republican candidate in Senate District 37, which covers most of Blaine, most of Spring Lake Park, and I believe northeastern Coon Rapids, I believe, so in that general area. And again, you could check out his website. I have it linked in my blog, bradcarlson.org. His website, sanfordforsenate.com, to find out more about the campaign. And first of all, Brad Sanford, welcome to the Northern Alliance Radio Network, first and foremost.
Well, thanks for having me.
Appreciate you coming on the broadcast today. We'll get into a little bit about maybe what motivated you to run for office and, of course, what you're hearing from the constituents. Why don't we get to know you personally, a little bit about your background, family life, work life, all that kind of good stuff, and then we'll delve into the campaign, Brad Sanford.
Well, I graduated from Blaine High School, so I'm running in my own area.
Fantastic.
I finished high school there, went on to play football, came back, got married. I have 4 kids now, and we are living up in Blaine, and that is a beautiful area to be in. It actually is one of the best places in the state.
So it sounds like you have a normal life, family life, living up in Blaine. What made you decide to get into politics? So, as some people say, what made you decide to soil yourself and get into politics? I'm not that cynical, Brad Sanford, but was there a big draft Brad Sanford movement? Because obviously you're a staple of the community, it sounds like.
Well, I've been a banker for a long time. Mm-hmm. Just recently I changed to be able to run for state senate. I'm now an insurance agent. But okay. A lot of times, you see and hear the taxes that the businesses are paying and how we're taxing them out of the state.
Yes.
And that just seemed to be, one of the things that bothered me. The big linchpin that kind of went, hey, we need to change something here is the Common Core that's going on. My daughter came home with her spelling homework that she had, and she said, Dad, just sign off on it. And I said, well, I'm going to check it, and, we'll see how everything's going. And I said, okay, honey, you got 2 wrong here. There's no K in education. And she said, Dad, it's okay. Just sign it. The teacher said, just spell it as it sounds.
Wow.
I said, honey, you're a Sanford. You're going to spell it right.
Yeah.
So.
Is that so? So it looks like the text messaging vernacular is taking over in some of our spelling tests. Is that what I'm understanding, Brad?
I think so, right? Laughing out loud, OMG. Yep,
oh my goodness! Well, yeah. Obviously, this is a seat currently held by an incumbent DFLer who is not seeking re-election. So there's obviously opportunity here for a Republican to take over the seat. Not to say that your particular area is ruby red, but it's not the city of Minneapolis either. So do you sense there's a pretty good opportunity? I mean, I guess let me phrase it this way: what are you hearing from some of the constituents up there? You've obviously been through parades, been knocking on doors. You alluded to Common Core as being one of the issues. What are some of the issues that the constituents are conveying to you, Brad Sanford?
They are tired of the taxes. They're tired of being abused and, being the middleman that's always carrying the weight and not being able to get anything back for it. A lot of times they raise taxes for one specific issue and then they don't lower the taxes back after they've met that requirement. And they wonder where that goes. They want to fix the roads and bridges. They're very disappointed that we didn't get that done. And then one of the other main thing is health care. It's really, we were sold a bill of goods and it hasn't happened as they said it would.
Obviously, if you're familiar with the geography of that area, ladies and gentlemen, the Blaine, Coon Rapids, Spring Lake Park, a lot of major thoroughfares through there. You get the main drag of Highway 65, also 35W, Highway 10. And I'm glad you brought that up. You alluded to, obviously, the transportation issues, the infrastructure. We, for the second consecutive session, didn't really get any kind of funding for these particular areas. What are you hearing from the folks there? Obviously, the North Star Rail goes through Coon Rapids. But I live up in Ramsey, and I used to take the North Star Rail to a job I worked in downtown Minneapolis. Weren't a lot of folks in Coon Rapids getting on that thing, Brad Sanford. So I got to be perfectly honest with you. I don't know if it's changed since then in the couple of years I've been riding it, but I'm, and I don't want to speak for the constituents. You could probably answer this better than I do, but a lot of them may not work in that general area, have to travel on our major highways, and I have to imagine that it's valuable time commuting to and from every day, Brad Sanford.
Absolutely. I think, if you're going down to the Twins game or the Vikings game or, the Gophers game or wherever you're going, it's great transportation, so you don't have to park downtown. But other than that, there really is no use for the light rail. And when we're subsidizing it at $44 per person, it doesn't make sense.
Absolutely. So I guess from a personal standpoint, what was your family's reaction? I mean, did you have kind of a family meeting, sit down, say, "Hey, folks, I'm thinking of running for state senate"? Obviously, politics has a tendency to be kind of a nasty business. What was kind of the family's reaction? Because I'm sure you could probably attest to that. Any kind of campaign like this going to be a team effort on the home front.
Oh, absolutely. The home front, the wife, she was like, okay. All right. Have fun with that. But she supports me 150%. She just doesn't want to, be out in front and do anything like that. But my mom and dad, absolutely happy and proud of everything that I'm doing. And my mom said when I was young that in one of the pictures, I kind of gave up the first finger, and said, you're going to be a president because you were saying number one.
I like it.
At 5 years old. So maybe this is me fulfilling that whole thing. So,
and obviously there has to be, I guess, a sense of community, given that you're a lifelong resident of Blaine. Certainly an opportunity to serve your community had to be an enticement for you.
It was very exciting to actually give back. A lot of my family are in the have been in the armed forces or are currently serving with the police in their local cities and that. So it's part of me giving back to the community.
And obviously, with any campaign, it's going to be all hands on deck. You talk about the family, but of course, there's always a need. If we're going to get the Senate back into a Republican majority, there's going to be a need. So, is there obviously a website, opportunities to donate time, money, volunteer work, what have you? Why don't you give your website again, Brad? I know I gave it at the outset, but they want to hear it from you.
Sanford4senate.com. You can go on there, you can donate, you can volunteer, you can check out me, my family, all kinds of things on the website. And then we also have Facebook, and we're on Twitter.
Fantastic. And again, I've also linked to it at bradcarlson.org. And again, Sanford, it's the word for, F-O-R, spelled out. So I want to clarify that. Sanford4senate.com for any opportunities to donate some time, some money, because obviously an undertaking as taking over the majority of a state senate, certainly it's going to require all hands on deck. So Sanford4senate.com. Tell you what, why don't we, Brandon, why don't we take a little bit of an early break, and we come back. We'll talk more with Brad Sanford again. He, the Republican candidate in Senate District 37, again covers most of Blaine, Spring Lake Park, and about northeastern Coon Rapids. So definitely check out the website, and we'll come back with one final segment to find out more about Brad's campaign, how everything's going, and the way forward right here. AM 1280 The Patriot, Northern Alliance Radio Network, back in mere moments. Go nowhere.
These days, people send their children to college to learn a trade that no one in the family has done before. They move away, they work for someone who doesn't love them, and then they trade their infinitely valuable time for a little bit of someone else's money. The old plan was to get a job but lay aside each month and later start a family business. As the owner, you leverage the time of others and earn off hundreds of man-hours per day. It's called financial leverage. At Tradeway, we teach you to start a family business by trading stocks. The added benefit is that each generation teaches the next and builds on these skill sets, and your children have the competitive advantage of experience. That's a great plan for potentially creating generational wealth.
Coming to the Minneapolis Marriott West, July 29th and 30th. Only $99.95 for your entire household, plus a free ticket for a friend and a full money-back guarantee. To register, call 877-907-TRADE. That's 877-907-8723. Or go to Tradeway.com. That's Tradeway.com.
Join Gene Sullivan each week on Where You Live, where he takes on... Gene, who do you take on anyway?
Maniacal landlords, slippery renters, overbearing HOA boards. demanding homeowners. Oh, and the legislative lunacy brought on by local politicians wanting to fix everything for us.
It's a common sense perspective on the news and stories that affect you the most, right where you live. Join Gene Sullivan every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. on AM 1280, The Patriot.
What if I told you that you could have the best in contemporary Christian music on your smartphone or tablet, and you could have it all for free? You probably wouldn't believe me, right? But it's true. The FishTwinCities.com mobile app is free, and it streams the best in contemporary Christian music 24/7. You'll even have access to free downloadable songs just for downloading the free app. Download the FishTwinCities.com mobile app today and stream the best in contemporary Christian music wherever you go. Learn more and listen live at thefishtwincities.com.
Your metallic floor coating from Concrete Science will be as unique as your fingerprint. Steve Hicks, why is that?
As our specially formulated two-part epoxy is applied, the colors and patterns give it an almost three-dimensional appearance. As our skilled craftsmen swirl it into place, the floor comes to life, an effect unlike you've ever seen.
That's why you should call Concrete Science for a metallic floor coating.
Exactly. Our epoxy floor specialist will turn your garage floor into an engineered work of art. The smooth glass-like surface is also perfect for any room in your home or business. By the way, it's the same finish that you'll soon see in the new football stadium in Minneapolis.
Let Concrete Science do miraculous things for your existing floor with their revolutionary new metallic epoxy coating.
If you can dream it, Concrete Science can do it with concrete.
See for yourself at concrete-science.com. That's Concrete Science with a dash in the middle.com.
Welcome back. AM 1280, The Patriot, Northern Alliance Radio Network. It is me, Brad Carlson. Program I like to call The Closer, as I'm closing out this weekend's edition of Northern Alliance Radio Network programming, talking some local politics this last segment and this segment. Again, Brad Sanford, the Republican candidate in Senate District 37, again covers most of Blaine, most of Spring Lake Park, and northeastern Coon Rapids. And this particular district, obviously, redistricting last took place in 2012. So there's only been one district-wide election, state Senate election, since then obviously took place in 2012, where the current sitting Senator Alice Johnson won by, looking at the Secretary of State's website, by about 6.5 points. So certainly not a gimme to flip. But from what I understand, Brad Sanford, are you running a top-notch campaign, getting out there, door-knocking, even gotten some notoriety, lauded as one of the more formidable campaigns out there? Is that a true statement, Brad Sanford?
That is a true statement. That's
Fantastic.
what we've been told. Yeah, running one of the top campaigns for the Republican Party. Absolutely. Getting out and knocking on a lot of doors. The parade, I was running back and forth and shaking hands while my opponent was riding in a car.
Oh, okay.
Definitely getting out, meeting people, saying hi, letting them get to know me and who I am, so that they can make a good choice.
So, are you drawing? I mean, like we had indicated last segment, Blaine has been a lifelong residence for you, save for some time where you had been elsewhere, but. Primarily, your staple in that particular community. Are you drawing on some old family, friends, and neighbors that are getting behind the campaign as well? You know, I mean, it's always fun to have someone running for office, right?
I wouldn't be able to do this without the volunteers that we have.
Of course,
and my campaign committee. They're a bunch of dedicated people, and being a humble guy, it amazes me every time that one of my friends says, "Well, hey, can I help? Can I call? Can I door knock? Can I hand out literature?" I absolutely welcome all the help that we can get.
And now, obviously, this is something we for those of us who work in the private sector, it's one mindset. Running for public office, totally different mindset. Obviously, you kind of have to maybe adjust your thinking a little bit. From your standpoint, obviously, not being a career politician, and that's a plus. That's something in your favor, Brad Sanford.
Yeah.
Not being a career politician. What is something that you've come along in getting out there and running your campaign that you just didn't expect to happen? I mean, what's something that kind of took you totally by surprise in running this? Or has it just been a whole brand new experience for you altogether?
It has been it's like it's all falling into place. It has just been a whirlwind. Not really anything that I didn't expect. I've got a great campaign manager that we've planned out our whole strategy. We started from the end when we get elected all the way to when we started last year, and we're on course.
So at what point did you start thinking that you would want to maybe run in the, I mean, obviously this is something that people think about couple years ahead of time, a year ahead of time. Obviously, Alice Johnson not seeking re-election. Was it shortly after she decided not to run? I mean, how did you decide to get into the fray, Brad Sanford?
Well, I didn't. I've been wanting to get into politics for a long time. After seeing all that stuff that's going on, working with businesses and seeing how they get taxed and that money gets used for whatever, going through my own paycheck and seeing that this business values me at this amount, and I'm giving up this amount to the government. What am I getting for it? That's when I started to delve in a lot deeper and become a lot more interested, and maybe taking a leadership role, which is what we have for our campaign: leadership and teamwork. Being able to work across the aisle and get things done for the state. You're not electing us to go down there and argue with the other side. They're asking us to go down there and get stuff done for the state. Get the roads and bridges done so that we can get to and from work. We can get to and from soccer, wherever we got to go, right? So that was kind of the big tipping point. I really didn't care who I was running against.
Sure.
If it was an incumbent, both my opponents have been doing it for a long time.
Right.
They're stuck in their rut. We need something new.
Absolutely. So I guess the last, we kind of alluded to the last couple of legislative sessions. Last year they had a special session. This year they're still negotiating whether they want to have a special session. Obviously some things didn't get done. We talk about transportation. We have some long overdue transportation projects. Unfortunately, didn't get funded either year. You talk about yourself being a politically minded person. Obviously you were engaged in some of the issues in your community. Did you maybe watch some of the happenings going on in the past couple of sessions and kind of maybe develop in your mindset how you would handle things if you were down there? Because it's one thing to be a citizen and kind of be an armchair critic like I am, behind a microphone. But it's another, obviously you're not there yet, but you still kind of put together in your mind what you would do once you're down there? I mean, any particular issue that you're passionate about more than others?
Well, surprisingly, the roads and bridges didn't come up a lot when we were door knocking. I think you see all the construction that's out there, and you go, "Well, we don't need the money."
Right. Fair point. Yeah.
But after this year, we need the money for roads and bridges and to get done. But yeah, that's kind of what I see going on out there. Things that are happening recently in the society and in our area. So
have you been, is there anybody in particular that maybe you've drawn on their experience? Because this being a brand new experience for you, is there anybody in particular that, for lack of a better word, maybe has mentored you in this kind of campaign process?
Well, when I started out, I reached out to a lot of the people that I know that are either county commissioners or, in the House or in the Senate.
Sure.
And got their advice and got a lot of guidance. And so a lot of senators that are sitting right now are mentors of mine. So I've gotten a lot of help.
Once again, we are joined by Brad Sanford. He, the Republican candidate in Senate District 37, again, covering most of Blaine, most of Spring Lake Park, and northeastern Coon Rapids. And again, 651-289-4488. That is the number to call. We got about 5 minutes to go. If you'd like to call in, wish Brad well, leave a comment, ask a question, text any comments or questions, 651-243-0390. Or again, weigh in via Twitter, #NARN. #NARN. And I know that we have a key fundraising deadline coming up just in general, whether it, so that's going to be key. Any campaign like this, certainly the resources are needed. We've mentioned Brad's website a couple of different times. And for those of you who just may be tuning in, we definitely want to hit it one more time. So, Brad, your website for anybody that want to donate time, resources. Sir, even though it sound like you had a well-oiled machine, you never turn away volunteers, Brad Sanford.
Never.
I know that. So
Sanford4senate.com, for being FOR.
Gotcha. Okay, Sanford4senate.com. And again, bradcarlson.org. I've linked to it there.
And then to answer your question, one of the things that I do when I get in right away, driving around the area, you see some of these businesses that have gone out of business, and you've got buildings that are sitting empty. I would love to get some anchor businesses in there and bring jobs into the area to make sure that we fill in the little gaps that we have for buildings sitting empty.
You did allude to a little bit kind of the healthcare issue, and MNsure has now gotten national publicity for all the wrong reasons. And even Governor Dayton last year had indicated that, they were putting together a task force, and was even open, at least last year, was open to the fact, okay, maybe we might want to let this go and have everyone get on the federal exchange. He seemingly has since relented on that. And again, this is me editorializing, not Brad Sanford. Given how erratic the governor is, you just don't know what he's thinking at any given moment. Again, that's me talking, not my guest. So with that, Brad Sanford, obviously the issue of MNsure, your colleague just right up Highway 65 there, Michelle Benson, has been terrific on this issue as well. What are some of the things that you're thinking about as far as how to address this, let's face it, this monstrosity that doesn't seem to be getting any better?
And I will let Michelle Benson handle that. You're absolutely right. She is one of the best. You want the people that can handle it to be in those kind of positions and be welcomed along with that to learn. But it's one of those things where I see this as a problem for my opponents on the left. Is what they do is they think they've got this great idea. They bypass all of us that represent other people, and they put this policy into place, and then they try and tax us more to fix it. They don't put good policy into place, and that's one of those things where I will follow Michelle Benson's lead on that and help take care of the MNsure issue.
And of course, each of the last couple of years, they've and this is something that also bothers me too. And listening to you talk, it obviously something that probably rankles you a little bit is the collective celebration when we realize we have a budget surplus. Since when is taxing the citizens too much cause for celebration, Brad Sanford? Obviously, is that? I mean, you getting the same reaction some of your citizens, where they kind of look at their paycheck and say, "I think I can do a little bit better with my money than the government can."
Absolutely, I get a lot of people saying, "Does he really want me to leave the state?" I've heard that when I was a business banker. I had a business customer say to me, "You may not be my banker in a couple of years." And I said, "Why? I'm doing a great job for you." "Oh, no, I get that, but it's 2% cheaper on everything across the border." Isn't that's just it's terrible, absolutely terrible.
And unfortunately, a lot, being an observer, I hear a lot of the folks on the left side of the aisle, the DFLers, talk about, and this is a great state to live, and they're almost arrogant about it. It's like, why would anybody want to leave this particular state? Why would you not want to pay for a better Minnesota, so to speak? It's almost as if we should feel privileged to pay a little bit extra, and you're obviously getting the sense that that's not the case. So.
Absolutely.
Well, again, we are joined by Brad Sanford. We only got about a minute to go here. Again, Brad Sanford, the Republican candidate in Senate District 37. Check out his website, sanfordforsenate.com. That's SANFORD, Sanford, the word for, FOR, Senate.com. Brad, I appreciate you coming all the way down here from Blaine to visit with us today. Best of luck in your campaign going forward. Only 3.5 months till Election Day. It's going to go quick. So if you want to get the political contributions and volunteer in, now is as good a time as any to do it. Brad, appreciate you sharing. Best of luck again going forward. And we appreciate everything you're doing out there in Blaine and making this a great, well-oiled machine and a great campaign.
It was my honor. Thank you for having me on.
And ladies and gentlemen, thank you as always for tuning into the broadcast today. I have enjoyed it. AM 1280 The Patriot, Northern Alliance Radio Network. Godspeed, my friends. Have yourselves a blessed week.
Out into the world. Closing time.